Insidious, the Red Door is finally concluding after a decade of really scary films. But is this one a good final chapter? Is this one scary? In a word, yes. It is so scary. I think the thing about Insidious is that it has some of the best jump scares that even if you know the jump scare is coming, it's still frightening because what it pairs with that tension is the sound design. It is terrifying. The jump scares are really scary, even though you know they're coming. So Patrick Wilson directs this, and I think he does a really good job. I like how he directed these kids. He's very familiar with this group, so I'm pretty sure that directing them came really natural to him. So what's it about? Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson, their characters were married. They went through a divorce. A lot of it's the trouble from all of this that's been happening in the other world. But so they're estranged, really. They have two sons played by Andrew Astor and Ty Simpkins. Well, Ty Simpkins is preparing to go off to college. Now, he and his father have this battle. They go back and forth because he is resentful that his father isn't there because his parents went through a divorce. Well, Patrick Wilson plays Josh Lambert, and he's taking his son Dalton off to college. He's dropping him off. It's a difficult ride, but he drops him off to college. This is a college that he went to. He wants him to join a frat. The son just doesn't want, he's so resentful that he barely says a word to his dad, and he just gets rid of him once he gets to college. Well, in the dorm room while he's setting up, he meets his dorm mate, which happens to be a girl played by Sinclair Daniel. She plays Chris in this movie, and it gets a little, there's a mix up. So she says, I'll go to the office and get this cleared up or whatever. But for a couple of nights, they are roommates. Well, they grow attached during this time, not in a romantic way, but just friends. They share some dark secrets between each other to break the ice so that Dalton can loosen up somewhat. But Dalton does have this dark secret that he can go to this further world, or he can astral project, which Chris eventually finds out. He's studying art there. His art teacher at one point tells him, draw something, just let your hand draw, just put the charcoal to the pad and draw. And he draws this red door that he can astral project or go into this dimension to figure out why he's painted this really dark picture. That's really where the movie jumps off. He is astral projecting. Meanwhile, his dad is trying to erase his memories, clear his memories, because these memories send him to that, or helps him astral project and sends him to these dimensions where there are demons. And so he sees a doctor. He gets an MRI, very scary scene. He gets an MRI. The doctor tells him to use photographs, use pictures to make sure that you remember your family, because in erasing these memories and preventing himself from astral projecting, he's also going into this really dark place where he is maybe going to forget his entire family. So what his son is doing, Dalton is doing, he wants to go into this dimension to remember why or what things happened, what happened with his dad, and wants to know why he drew this door. His dad is trying to prevent from astral projecting because he wants to forget about that dark dimension because of what it did to his family and how it's controlling his life. Basically, that's really the basic gist of it, and that's not even a spoiler because it's about the family dynamic, which is combined make this a very horrifying movie and experience. what works in this particular franchise, in this Insidious universe, is lighting, because this is a very dark film and this is a very dark franchise, figuratively and literally. It's very dark. The sound design adds to the tension and adds to the jump scares, even when you know the jump scares are coming. Because of the sound design, you're still on the edge of your seat. It works for Insidious. I think the Insidious franchise does jump scares better than most. So that helps add to the tension, even though you know the jump scare is coming. That's why I think this film works. And I think that Patrick Wilson, this was his directorial debut, feature film directorial debut. I think he really captured the essence of the world and helped make it very horrifying with how he films himself. He, like no one else, is a great deadpan actor with his facial acting. He's very good with helping build tension and showing worry on his face and concern, and the fact that he can go anywhere with his facial acting. He's really good at that. I think it was great. I think Patrick Wilson did a really great job directing the film, specifically with how it's lit. I know his crew helped him with this, obviously, but I know his gaffers and the set decorators, contributed heavily to the setting and the tone, the setting of the film. But I think he did such a great job capturing the mood and the moment, because a lot of these, you can tell, well, I could tell that some of these scenes were filmed during the day, but the way that the gaffer helped light the scenes really added to the tension. He captured that so brilliantly, because this is a dark film, figuratively and literally. It's very dark, which also adds to the sensation and atmosphere of the horror. I think Patrick Wilson did a great job. I'm glad that he closed out the franchise by directing Granted, he does know these characters. He's grown with these characters as much as Rose Byrne has grown, as much as Ty Simpkins has grown, and Andrew Astor. So I think this is a great film. If you like horror, definitely don't skip this. If you are on the fence about horror, just go in knowing that there are a lot of jump scares, and a lot of them you see coming. The first one, like this, it's not an Insidious film without getting a jump scare in that first act. Just know that about 14 minutes or so in, you're going to get a jump scare. It's going to be very scary. And then it ups the ante, jump scare after jump scare. This film is not as great as the very first Insidious film, which is probably one of the scariest movies out there. And I also don't think that you have to see the other four to really get this world, because they draw you in enough to understand the rules of this world, to understand the characters and what they've been through. And it's a family dynamic. The dynamic really reels you in, I think. So overall, if you like horror movies, this is a great movie to see this weekend if you like them. If you don't like horror movies, or you dabble in them a little bit and you don't mind jump scares, because this has a plenty of jump scares, I recommend you give this film a chance this weekend, because it is very scary. I think they did a really great job performance-wise, and I think Patrick Wilson did a fantastic job with the directing. The score is good. He even sings in one of the songs. I don't think that you have to see all four of the previous Insidious films to really grasp what's going on here. Seeing the first one would be very helpful, but I don't think it's a requirement or prerequisite to really get what's going on here, because they share the world, and a lot of what you don't know does help with the tension building. At any rate, Insidious: The Red Door is in theaters now.